Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to State of the Gaming Industry. This is episode 23, our weekly show here on the channel where we go over all of the, happenings going on in the video game world. So if you're new to the channel, if you're new to the audio experience, please do hit that subscribe button. Definitely rate us a 5 stars on all audio platforms. But for today, we're going to be talking about a few things. Phil Spencer sat down for technically another interview, but it was done the same day as those other interviews that I did, or that he did with Decim Gary and Gamertag Radio a couple weeks ago that I did a video on. But he did one with Xbox Era, and they just now put that out. There's a couple tidbits in there I want to go over. A lot of the other stuff, stuff we already heard. We got a rumor about a Batman Beyond game, which I'm very excited for if it does come to fruition. We did get an announcement for the Pokemon Presents next week and a few other things. So we'll get into all that right now. But as usual, we're gonna start with some, just catching up on what I'm playing and everything. So right now, I did start Avowed on the release day, which was Tuesday. I got like an hour and a half into it. It's pretty good so far. I do want to do like a first impression video, probably say maybe like 2 weeks or so. I'm playing through Stellar Blade as well. I don't know if I mentioned that last week. I've been trying to do all the like side quests and everything. There's just so many requests that just pop up at all times. So I'm like maybe like 15 hours in, and I'm only on the third planet so far. So definitely putting my time in with that game. Still really good. I like the combat, the action, and all that. I'm waiting to see what other stuff you unlock because, to be honest, some of the combos and stuff like that getting a little repetitive. But yeah, that's what I'm playing right now. Let's move on to some of the game releases from this week. So we got, as I already mentioned Avowed. So we saw Avowed came out officially on the 18th. It did have early access on the 13th. So you could pay, I think it was like $25. You got to play like 5 days early. Originally, I did do that, but then I was like, when the reviews came out, I did have time to pull it back. I was like, I didn't need to play it 5 days early. And it was like, realistically, I don't think paying that much without the DLC. So like Starfield, you get the DLC, you get the early access. What was the other game? Doom the Dark Ages. A few other games are throwing in DLC. So you're paying 25, $30 and no DLC is kind of, yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I don't agree with it, honestly. It's like, I mean, people going to pay whatever they're going to pay, but I'm just like, nah. We also got on the same day we got Lost Records, Bloom and Rage Tape 1. And I got this game confused with, I think it was called Mixtape that we saw at the summer showcase for Xbox. So this is a little different. That's an adventure game, came out for PC, PS5, Xbox Series X and S. Got a 72. We got some games without ratings. And then PGA Tour 2K25. I always hear this. This is probably one of the most underrated sports series, and no one really talks about. I haven't played it. I'm not a golf guy, but 83 Metacritic for a sports game, not bad. And the ratings came out already, and the game didn't even come out yet. So the standard edition on the 28th Legendary Deluxe Edition looks like they got the early access thing going on too. You can play on the 21st. And then one of the bigger releases this week, you got the new Yakuza spin-off game, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. That's in at a 79 right now. It's interesting. It's based on 68 critic review, so it may go up to an 80, it may go down to a 78. We'll have to see, but I feel like most of the reviews are in at this point. But I mean, a lot of people like this series. If you're into the series, you're probably gonna buy this game anyway, regardless of the reviews. So I wouldn't dig too deep into that. But okay, now let's go on to the Game Pass. You have the second wave of releases for February. So On the 20th, which was yesterday, you had EA Sports F1 24 coming out for cloud, console, and PC. For that's going to be on Game Pass Ultimate and also PC Game Pass. And it's important they keep releasing these little like kind of breaking down exactly where to play it and which which do you call it? Which like tier you need, because it does get a little confusing. Like, okay, I have Ultimate, so I should be good, but then I want to play it on uh cloud, but it's not available on cloud, like stuff like that. So it's good they break it down that way. You got Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader, which is an isometric game, so it's not the same as the what was it, Space Marines, which was like a Gears of War type of thing. That's coming out for cloud, PC, and Xbox Series X and S on the 20th as well. It'll be on Ultimate, PC, and Game Pass Standard, so everything except for 4. And then you got Watch Dogs Legion coming out for cloud, console, and PC February 25th, which is next Tuesday, I believe. So that's on Ultimate, PC, Game Pass, and Game Pass Standard. I did have the original Watch Dogs when they came out on Xbox One, but that game got very repetitive for me. I felt like it was very rinse and repeat. You go do the same kind of missions, the same, like, hack the traffic light, then hack this, and I don't know. It got very repetitive. It's technically free with your subscription, so go ahead. Let's move on to Fairgame. So this was from an insider. So I think it was Jeff Grubb. So there's rumors that Fairgames, which was going to be one of Sony's next live service games, did get delayed internally to next year, which was going to be their heist game. So it says Fairgames, the heist shooter from Jade Raymond's new studio Haven, has allegedly been delayed. Whilst we don't know much about the live service game other than that it's expected later this year and is in development for PC and PlayStation 5, Giant Bomb's Jeff Grubb revealed during the Game Mess Decides podcast that the release has slipped to 2026. Grubb didn't offer any explanations as to why it might have fallen behind schedule, but said it's unlikely to make an appearance this year. So that's interesting, because as we keep talking about Sony's live service games and their push, like originally they were going to do 10, cut that back to 6, and then we've seen a bunch canceled as well. So I believe it was more than 10, because we've seen like 8 canceled already. So it's like a God of War one and all this kind of stuff. So I don't know. As far as their release schedule, I feel like they should focus on one live service game a year if they're going to stay with that strategy, and then like 2 big blockbuster games, and then like a smaller, AA style type of game. So we'll take last year for example, right? They had Astrobot was their big game. They did have some of their regular second party, as people are calling it, releases with Rebirth and Stellar Blade and Rise of the Ronin and everything like that. They had Helldivers 2, which did really well. Concord did not do really well. So that's that whole like putting out 2 at the same time. I don't think so. I think this year they should just focus on putting out Marathon. We know you got Ghost of Yote, that's your big, movie game. You got Death Stranding 2, that's your second one. And then you need like another, I know they got that Phantom Blade Zero game, I believe, is coming out this year. So that's your second party thing. And then you need like one other smaller like Astrobot level game. That would be a good cadence for them. Then even next year, 2026, you could put out Fairgames. Then you got was it Housemarque's new game, Saros, and then they can go from there. I don't know what else they will put out. Maybe Wolverine next year if it's ready, and then kind of figure out the smaller games in between then. And then you got the little partnerships that they do anyway. So they should be all right. I'm now, what will be crazy is if more of these start getting delayed or if it gets canceled. We saw Factions, I believe it was 4 years in development for Last of Us, and that ended up getting canceled altogether. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Now, moving on to this is Hunter x Hunter Nen Impact. So we've been waiting to get some more details on this game. We finally do have more details as well as a release date. So you see, you got tag team battle, which is similar to Marvel versus Capcom. I don't know. People in the comments being negative about this game. I think because it's full, they're calling it full price, so it's going to be $60. And then it's $75 for the upgrade, which is going to have the DLC Season 1 character pack. So it'll show it at the end of this trailer, but um they're putting out a character every season. So like the winter, spring, summer, and so on and so forth. You got the online plays, the rollback net code ready. I wonder if it's going to be crossplay. I don't know if they announced that yet, but you have the single player. They have I don't know if they're calling it triple battle, but you can play with 3 characters. So, for a casual fighting game person like myself, that's good. You got the roster here. They're showing certain characters: Killua, Gon, Hachi, Dorio, and then you got the Neferpitou. It's going to be a DLC character. So you see right here, this is what I was talking about. So season pass 1 is going to have Neferpitou in the fall. Then in the winter is going to be another character. Spring 2026 is going to be another character. And then summer 2026 will be another character. So it'll be interesting to see if they're going to do like, there'll technically be a new character every season until the game's not being worked on anymore, because they'll probably do a fall 2026 pass as well, and then keep it going from there. Maybe they take the fall off and then start fresh in winter, but we'll just have to see. But the game is coming out on July 17th, and it's available for pre-order. So like I said, $60, and then if you want the deluxe edition, you get 2 days early, and you get this whole season pass, so 4 characters. It'll be interesting to know what the other characters are. I feel like they will not reveal those before the game comes out, because the game comes out in July, and then the first character is available in the fall. So we're not even going to see the other. I want you to pay that money, and then hopefully you get some good characters otherwise. So we'll see. All right, so like I mentioned earlier, we got Phil Spencer at another interview with Xbox Era. They did a pretty good job. So what they did actually was, so this was done, and when I was watching it, I was like, yo, Phil, I know he's rich, but he's doing that thing like Steve Jobs where you wear the same outfit in every interview or whatever. So he was wearing the same outfit in the same setting from the Destin and the Gamertag radio interview. So I thought it was different, but apparently they pushed this back for their 250th episode. So they had recorded this that same day, and then now they're now releasing it for 250th episode. So they went through some of the same questions that Destin and Danny and Paris asked them. So I'm not gonna repeat those. The same stuff with the developer direct and things like that. But what I did want to talk about was, so they asked him about hey, now for Xbox Showcase, we're talking about looking ahead to the summertime. What's going to happen with these? You're going to show PlayStation logos, Nintendo logos. Most companies don't do that, even if the game is going to be third party. It's even with Indiana Jones, people thought it was weird how they didn't show that, and then they made an announcement that it was coming to PS5 before it even came out on Xbox, which was weird. But Phil said, hey, listen, we're trying to be transparent and honest about it. We're not trying to, we made that decision at the last minute. And actually, they were thinking about doing it for the last showcase, but decided it was too late or whatever. But yeah, I said, if we're shipping on Nintendo, we want you to know. If we're shipping on PlayStation, on Steam, people want to know where to buy their games. And that makes sense considering, if their strategy is to get the most amount of money for their games and be on everywhere as possible, it doesn't benefit them that much to just say hey, it's on Xbox, and then later do a release. If it's coming out, especially if it's coming out on the same day, we're seeing people do staggered releases, but if it's coming out on the same day and date, it doesn't behoove them to just what do you call it? Just market it for Xbox. It doesn't make sense. Then They were talking about, you know, and Paris talked about this in their interview, but just like, hey, people are concerned, like, what should we do at, and are my games safe and things like that. And Phil said, he likes that people voice their concerns because he gets a lot of the pushback, whether he's want to adhere to it or not is a whole nother thing, but he wants to hear this feedback so they can do a better job. But he says like, hey, it says, I get it. I get the questions. I think we've shown respect for people's libraries over the generations with back compat and play anywhere and cloud. You can still buy every game that's in Game Pass. And that's something I say, like, everyone of the big three has their own things, right? Like you have Nintendo with their innovation and strong first party, Sony's the big blockbuster games, and they sell their hardware really well. And they just have that stamp of like being the go-to standard system, like the default. And Xbox is kind of focusing on software and what do you call it, services and different features and things like that. So they've done the best as far as I'm concerned, as far as the back compat. Now, obviously, they don't have as rich of a history as Nintendo and Sony, but the fact that you can boot up Ninja Gaiden Black right now, the original from 2005 on your Series X is amazing. The fact that you can boot up some of your arcade games from the 360 days, like you can boot up old Pac-Man, Galaga, Geometry Wars, um, a bunch of the obviously the first party games they focus on, like Blinks the Time Sweepers on there. Like they've done really good with that. The Xbox Play Anywhere being cross save, all that kind of stuff. Even between people were saying like Indiana Jones, like Steam and Xbox has cross progression, which is insane. So they're focusing on that. It says cloud to grow in Asia. That's their fastest growing um, market. So they're going to keep focusing on these things. And again, that's his answer. Whether you like it or not is a different thing. But at least they're being upfront and transparent, so you know what you need to do and make your decision. Um, you talk about releases too, because now Xbox has so many games, so it's like, okay, how do y'all figure out with the portfolio, like when to release things, when to push back, things like that, which we saw with Avowed, and they're like, well, now we have a good cadence, and then you have a lot of variety. You have shorter experiences like South of Midnight, or these other single player games, Hellblade 2, what's it called, that just came out, Avowed, what you could put 30 hours in, or you could put in 70 hours if you want to, then the DLCs and stuff like that. So they're finding a good cadence of how to put these games out and when to do it and everything. Now, this was what I think was the main headlines for a lot of people. So he talked about like, okay, what can we expect, like what are you looking forward to next for the most part, right? And he talked about stuff from the dev direct, like Ninja Gaiden, what's it called, Clair Obscure and everything like that. But then he also said, he's really looking forward to State of Decay, which he said years ago. But then he also said, what Double Fine's working on next. And people were wondering if Double Fine was going to show up at the dev direct, the summer showcase last year. And Phil's really intentional when it comes to mentioning certain games. You know that they normally do show up soon after he's talking about not being, but like he's mentioning, hey, Double Fine's working on something cool. What else did he say? I think he was at Rare, so he saw Everwild, because people were saying, hey, we haven't seen it in a while. He said, hey, he was just there. He's giving them their time. So clearly that's in the works. And then he's going up to the to Coalition, who's working on Gears. He was going up to them next. He said next week, so this was a couple weeks ago, so he'd already been there. But he said he's been replaying the original Gears with some colleagues, playing co-op and everything. So again, I think we should expect to see some of these games when we talk about the showcase. Now, the way it works is you have an announcement. Normally, they have an announcement for the game when you first see it. Then you may not see it the next year unless it's coming out soon, and then you get the game again maybe the year after when it's coming out. So like Double Fine, I feel like, hey, they might show something at this summer showcase. Then we see something next year, or it might release next year. We see it at the developer direct. Then Gears E Day, either that's coming out this fall, which I don't want it to. I think they need to send that to next year, let it polish up, don't crowd it, and just put a whole bunch of games out this year just for the sake of it. And then Everwild, we might see again. It will be like a re-reveal trailer kind of thing, and then maybe we get it next year at some point, maybe 2027, right? So I think as far as 2026 goes, I think we get. We saw State of Decay last year, so I don't know. I think as far as 2026 goes, I think we definitely get State of Decay 3. I feel like at this point should come out. Double Fine's new game, Gears E Day. If we don't get it next this year, we're definitely getting it next year. Perfect Dark might be a 2027 game, and then Clockwork Revolution we saw in 2023. So if we don't see that this year, and I don't know, because now with the developer direct, it's kind of like they have to show whatever game's coming out that year. They show it at the game showcase. So actually, I don't know if that's true. Actually, Indiana Jones they didn't show, I believe. Don't remember if they showed it or not, but yeah, essentially, like I agree with. I've spoken on everything Phil said already. Like the multi-platform strategy, yes, it's you could say gaming is going this way, but obviously because them being in third place, it's pushed them to get there a little faster. It is what it is. As far as him visiting these studios, hopefully we see these games soon. And yeah, I think it's finally falling into place the way they want it to be. Did it happen the way everybody wanted? No, but hey, the games are coming out. You got a bunch of different experiences to come out. You got different partnerships with Game Pass. So listen, everybody should be, just enjoy the games and keep it moving. But now, so there's a 7-minute video on this. I didn't watch it yet because I just seen this when I was looking up the news, but apparently Xbox has which a lot of people are not going to like. They've announced a new AI tool called Muse. So this is from an Xbox Wire post, and it says, empowering creators and players with Muse, a generative AI model for gameplay. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to tell you why a lot of people aren't going to like this. So, and we'll read through it and just see some of the details, but AI has been a touchy subject when it comes to art in general, whether that's video games, music, movies, writing, pictures, drawing, everything like that, because it's kind of like it takes the soul out of a lot of things. It takes the job away from, humans. It's lazy. It doesn't push creativity, things like that. And, I'm not all the way against it. Like we've been using AI technically for decades now. It's just been in varying degrees. Now, when it comes to gaming, for me, I think if it makes certain stuff easier, let's say like textures and backgrounds, like, okay, we have a base of how we want this world to look, and then the AI just generates it and whatever else. As far as character models, I mean, I don't know. If you have, let's say, a million different combinations, like the create a player thing, and then you have AI create, 1,000 different combinations of those characters or those pieces of how to make a character. Okay, good. Now, when you talk about gameplay and AI, I need to know, what does that mean? Does that mean combat, the writing? Like, I mean, technically NPCs are AI, right? How they react to you when you fight them or stuff like that. So this is from an Xbox Wire post from Fatima Hardar, corporate vice president of gaming AI. It says, in nearly every corner of our lives, the buzz about AI is impossible to ignore. It's destined to revolutionize how we work, learn, and play. For those of us immersed in the world of gaming, whether as players or creators, the question isn't just how AI will change the game, but how will it ignite new possibilities. At Xbox, we're all about using AI to make things better and more fun for players and game creators. We want to bring more games to more people around the world and always stay true to the creative vision and artistry of game development. We believe generative AI can boost this creativity and open up new possibilities. We're excited to announce a generative AI breakthrough published today in the journal Nature and announced by Microsoft Research that shows this potential to open up new possibilities, including the opportunity to make older games accessible to future generations of players across new devices and new ways. So it says right here, Muse, right? Introducing Muse in partnership with Xbox Game Studios Ninja Theory. So that's interesting because Ninja Theory is who did Hellblade and Hellblade 2, obviously. So they did, their game was known for, the artistic direction, the sound design, and everything like that. So that's interesting for them to be the kind of the spearhead of this this AI thing. Microsoft Research developed a world and human action model, WHAM, named Muse, a first of its kind generative AI model trained on Ninja Theory's multiplayer battle arena game Leading Edge. So that must have been one of their first games. I know Ninja Theory also did I think they did Heavenly Sword, which is very different than Hellblade, but Leading Edge, I've heard of it, but I'm not too familiar with it. Ninja Theory and Microsoft Research are both based in Cambridge, which made collaboration easy. What's groundbreaking? I'm trying to see what. Okay, so they got some pictures here that I can't click on. Looks weird to me. So offer new experiences. They interviewed 27 global game creators. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's interviewing and meeting and partnering doesn't always mean like, okay, you're doing your due diligence or you're going to do right by the studios and video game industry. Like, it could just be, it's just another word for collecting data, to be honest. So it says it's still early, but it's pushing the boundaries of what they thought was possible. They're using it to develop a real-time playable AI model trained on other first-party games, and we see potential for this to work one day benefit both players and games. Revive nostalgic games to faster creative ideation. And now they're trying to, okay, and then it says, we believe this could radically change how we preserve and experience classic games in the future, make them accessible to players. Yeah, I don't know. It's, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, there's a whole 7-minute video. I'm gonna watch it after I finish recording this, but man, I'm not going to sound completely negative on it because, like I said, there are benefits to AI, especially when it comes to game development. Like Microsoft, everybody else has said the same thing. These games are taking too long, they cost too much money, and people forget about them in a week, and they're flopping and all this kind of stuff, and the internet and distractions, all this kind of stuff. So, if this can help game development, I'm all for, like, at the end of the day, we gotta, whether it's console warring, AI, all this other stuff, all these touchy subjects, if we care about the gaming industry growing, sustaining, preserving, and just recalibrating and getting better for the long term, we should embrace all the tools available. Now there still needs to be someone there to hold the reins and pull it back once it goes too far. Xbox being under Microsoft in general, always, there's always the, I don't want to call it the threat, but there's always the threat of this type of thing happening, where you're kind of putting the technology and experience over gaming, which is the bread and butter. That is the main focus, right? We've seen that with the Xbox One generation, what happened with that. So we'll have to see. I think if they can do it the right way, I'm with it. It's just, man, I don't know. This could go one of two ways, so we'll just have to see and keep our eyes out. Now, let's talk about Nintendo. This was so random when I saw this. So Nintendo is discontinuing their gold points on the eShop, and I don't know why. So, and it's happening soon. I think it's March 25th. Yeah, so March 25th, they're gonna discontinue their gold points. So for people that don't know, if you don't own a Switch or whatever, when you buy a game, whether it's on if it's on the eShop or if you buy it physically and it's been within a year of that game's release, as far as the physical goes, you can redeem these gold points, which you can then use to buy more games. Now, they're not normally a lot. Like if you buy a new game, it's probably like it's based on the price of the game too. So if it's like a $60 game and you buy it, you get the gold points. It's like 300 points, which is like $3, which realistically just covers the taxes when you try to buy a new game on the eShop. And then for people that don't really buy stuff on the eShop, then if you're all physical, then it doesn't really help you. Maybe eventually after buying all your physical games, you save up enough points and able to get it. Now, they said the silver points are staying, but gold points will stop March 25th. Pre-orders for digital games made to and including 24th of March will still earn gold points, but after that, it doesn't. So, yeah, I don't know. And then the gold points, any gold points you have will be valid for 12 months after you earn them. So if you get some gold points today, they'll be good till February of 2026. So some people are saying, hey, maybe oh wow. And then they also announced that game vouchers that will not be able to get redeemed for Switch 2 games. Ah man, Nintendo, don't do this, bro. Y'all listen, it's little stuff like this that kind of makes people mad at it. Or mad at a like we see this all the time, like a gaming, like one of the giants, they do really well and then they do little like anti-consumer stuff like this, or they start getting a little too, again, it's small, but it's like people are saying, hey, maybe they're going to come up with a new system for Switch 2, a new online redeeming and all this kind of stuff, and it'll be too complicated. And to be honest, when you think about it, if they're going to come up with something, I think it makes sense that they discontinue this now, because they don't want, when the Switch 2 launches, everybody using all those points to redeem games and stuff. So I think that's why they're doing that. Or for people that maybe they didn't have a Switch, they're going to get a Switch 2, and then they're going to have they're going to be able to get a bunch of games for discount or whatever. I don't know. I think that's what. But the vouchers was big for a lot of people. So you don't know the vouchers. What it was you could buy a game voucher for an eShop game for $50, and then you could, or you get two for I don't know if you could buy one. I think you buy two at a time for 100, and then you could use each one to buy a game for $50. So you could have used it for, let's say, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, $70. You could have got it for 50 technically, or all the other games that are $60. Use it for that. So I feel like, yeah, they're trying to get as much money as they can when the Switch 2 comes out, and they're not trying to let vouchers, gold points, all that stuff. They're not trying to let come in between. So yeah, I don't know, man. That's it's business, but I don't like it. It's not. Okay. Now another rumor that I hope is true. So the rumor is Rocksteady, who we know have lost their way. They did the legendary Batman Arkham trilogy. They lost their way with Suicide Squad and WB games in general is all over the place. Gotham Knights, not really pushing the Hogwarts Legacy should be getting pushed right now. Like they're kind of all over the place. But they're finally listening to the fans, because apparently they could be working on a Batman Beyond game. Batman Beyond, again, if you don't know, it was back in the 2000s, early 2000s, I think like 2000 on the dot, 2001. And it was like a futuristic cyberpunk Batman with Terry McGinnis, and Bruce Wayne had retired and everything like that. So it was really dope. If you haven't seen it, you can check it out. It's on Blu-ray for like $25. I saw it the other day. So it says here, Rocksteady, the studio known for an incredibly successful catalog of single-player Batman games, is working on its next project, which is rumored to be a new take on Batman Beyond. According to a leaker, Rocksteady is looking toward the classic animated Batman Beyond show as the foundation for its next game, a series that, despite only running for a few short years, has since developed a cult fan base. I saw someone, there was a question on Twitter, it was like, if you could have your dream developer make your dream game, what would it be? And someone said CD Projekt Red making a Batman Beyond game, and I was like, that would be insane. I think that's big because of them doing Cyberpunk, but that, yeah, I don't know. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know. I think they would nail the aesthetic. I don't know how they would do with the combat as far as third person melee combat. But anyway, according to leaker Lunatic Ingus, Rocksteady's looking at Batman Beyond for its next take on the Cape Crusader for its next game. The new rumor follows other reports that Rocksteady is gearing up to return to the realm of single-player Batman games, and see that those two coming together kind of makes sense because I remember there was a rumor that they're like, "Hey, we're gonna go back to Batman." That's that's what we know. Hey, no more Suicide Squad. But then to think about, okay, how can we do Batman? What are we gonna do? And you go to Batman Beyond would be super super dope, especially since Kevin Conroy passed. Obviously, they have to have another Batman voice at some point, but I think if you want to get away from that and then, the trilogy, let the trilogy be the trilogy and then move on to Batman Beyond, that would be really dope. And if they could tell some more stories that weren't told in the series, that would be even greater. However, this rumor claims that the proposed Batman Beyond game may be a PlayStation exclusive, something that goes against the grain when looking at the studio's past releases. This rumored exclusivity is likely as a result of unverified reports from Sony funding the upcoming game. This will certainly be perplexing decision, as one would think Warner Bros. Wants to get as much money as possible, considering the large amounts they cost. Suicide Squad killed the Justice League, and yeah, that's when I saw that PlayStation rumor. I was like, I don't think so, because number one, in general, these like third parties are shying away from the console exclusive stuff. The only ones you'll see is like even Square Enix. They're not doing it no more. They said that already. We're not doing this PlayStation exclusive. The only way you'll see is these smaller studios, like you're saying, like Shift Up and The Lost Soul Aside, like those smaller, either indie or like up and coming third party studios. They'll do it, but Warner Brothers, with the amount of money, as big as a company as they are in general, and the amount of money they're putting, they're not doing a PlayStation exclusive. There's no reason. There's literally no reason to. Like, yeah, you'll get the money up front as far as developing the game, but then long term and royalties and all that, you're only selling on the PS5. Which, I mean, and not even the PS5, maybe. Like, by the time this game comes out, like, they didn't start development yet. It's 2025, right? This is a PlayStation 6 game. And then, I mean, we've seen even Spider-Man 2 didn't do what it needed to do. Plus, you got licenses, fees, all this kind of stuff. So, I don't see that happening. But I do hope that the game comes out. I don't care when it comes out. 2028, not even. It's probably a 2030 game, to be honest. But either way, I'll be there. I will be there no matter what. All right. Now, let's talk about the Pokémon Presents was officially announced. So, we know it is Pokemon Day next week. We got the Pokemon Presents announcement. So this is coming Thursday, February 27th, 6 a.m. Pacific time. So that is 9 a.m. Eastern time. I'll probably stream it. I'll stream it if you guys want to watch. And show much in this. Yeah, so there's just a 50-second just going back and forth with Pikachu. But there were some rumors about what we might see next week. Again, we keep getting, I don't know, not X. Pokemon rumors are so crazy to me. Like, I don't know where people come up with this stuff. So this is the rumors. Again, I don't know. I feel like one, I feel like it won't happen. Two, if it did, this would be a 2026, because that'll be the 30th anniversary of Pokemon, and that's when they're going to do the whole blowout, Gen 10 coming out, everything like that. So we'll just read them anyway. But so it says, the new rumor says that we're going to get a classic Pokemon port collection. So this port collection is going to be on Switch Online, between the Game Boy and the Game Boy Advance. It says it's going to have Gens 1 through 3. We're going to have Pokemon. They're going to call it Pokemon Memories, which will be Red, Gold, Ruby, and Fire Red. So it'll be the first, basically like how there's counterpart releases. You have Red and Blue, Fire Red, Leaf Green. They're going to do the first set as Pokemon Memories, and then Pokemon Reminiscence will be Blue, Silver, Sapphire, and Leaf Green. And then Yellow, Crystal, and Emerald, which are the third pairs, or the third set, the third game that releases in the set of those Gens 1 through 3 will be available for digital purchase. It'll have Xbox, or I keep saying Xbox. It'll have Nintendo Pokemon Home support and a March 13th release date. I don't believe any, to be honest. Like, number one, why do Gens 1 through 3 now? Like I said, that seems more like a 30th anniversary thing. Number two, why would you have Yellow Crystal and Emerald for purchase, but the other ones are not? Yeah, I don't know where just getting this stuff from forum. So yeah, there's just a lot with it. And then March 13th, like, why? You know what I mean? So as far as the presents goes, I think we'll get ZA shown. We'll get, some people think maybe a sneak peek at Gen 10 for next year, which I could see that, because I don't think they would just show that next year and then release it in the same year. They'll show us a little glimpse of it. And then if they're ever going to do any of this Pokemon, like on the service stuff, I don't know. Because I don't know how you do it, like digital purchase. Then does it run through the emulator? Does it, can they do other a la carte games? Like, I don't know. That sounds like a lot. We'll see though. We got a week, and then we'll be able to get all our questions answered. So we got some numbers as far as players. So we got Palworld first. So Palworld says they got 32 million players in their first year between Steam, Xbox, and PS5, which is crazy. Obviously, that's not sales, but I believe their Steam page at one point, they was at like 2 million players. And Steam, you have to pay for it. So even with Game Pass and everything else, at 2 million on Steam is insane. The game was only $30. We know they have a lawsuit coming, so good luck to them on that. The lawsuit isn't for a lot of money, but it is for there's going to be some weird patents and copyright stuff that was trying to enforce there, which isn't the greatest. So good luck to them. Hey, 32 million, that's great. And then also Marvel Rivals was at 40 million. So NetEase confirms during its earnings that Marvel Rivals has achieved 40 million players, which is crazy. And they had 10 million within the first 72 hours of the game launching. And mind you, 40 million players. This game came out December 6th. That's less, or a little more. That's 2 months and 2 weeks ago. So you're talking about like what? Less than 80 days ago that game came out, and already hitting those numbers, which is really, really cool. All right, last story for today. Tony Hawk Pro Skater Remaster. So first thing that happened was what's this guy's name? Tyshawn Jones. So he was on the Breakfast Club, and he said that he's in a Tony Hawk game that's coming out, and he said it's a new one that they're remastering, so that's about to come out, and I was in the last one. So pretty much spilled the bean. We've seen this a million times where like actors or people that, not the game developers kind of spoil stuff like this, but we've been hearing rumors. I think Tony Hawk said a few things as well. And then, because Activision is a publisher of Tony Hawk, we've been waiting for the other ones to come back. There was a teaser in Black Ops 6. So in one of the maps, there's this picture. You see a skateboarder up here, and this is a skate shop actually, and then it says March 4th, 2025. So, hey, maybe we get an announcement March 4th. I would assume so because it's already it's February 20th. They're not going to just shadow drop it. So get an announcement March 4th, and then keep it going. So, oh wait, actually Tony Hawk. Oh snap! I didn't even. This way I gotta read the comments. So Tony Hawk did a little like eye emoji, and then Xbox did an eye emoji. So yeah, it's coming. It's coming. March 4th, we're gonna get a new announcement, and then we'll see when the game actually comes out. So how will it do? I don't know. I feel like maybe for people that have been waiting for it, it'll do something for them. But I don't know. Skating in general just isn't as big as far as I know. Maybe it is, but I feel like skating, even for people that didn't skate back in the day, it was like huge deal. So either way, good for them. Activision, they need to get more of these games coming out as well. What else? What do you call Transformers games? All this stuff people have been clamoring for. They need to get on. That does it for this week's episode. Like I said, if you are new to the channel, please check out all the links in the description. Check out all my other videos. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a like on this. Hit that notification bell. And then if you're listening on audio, again, rate 5 stars, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everything you're listening on. If you're just listening to audio, check out the video and check out the channel as well. That's it. I'm out of here. Appreciate you guys. State of the Gaming Industry, episode 23. I'm out.